Hello everyone, welcome to part 3 of my More Blocks video series. Today I'll be talking about the More Sensors tab, and let me tell you, some of the things are kinda crazy. So the very first block in the More Sensors thing is what you probably clicked this somewhat clickbaity video for, and that's the raw value block. And this is for the color sensor, and it gives you the raw value of the color that it's reading in R, G, or B format. Now you're probably wondering how this works. Well, I'm going to go to my digital color meter for that, and hovering over this, as you can see, we're getting an R reading. That's a number of 0 to 255 of how red the color we're reading is, of 103. We're getting a green reading of 201, and we're getting a blue reading of 237. So it's mostly blue and green with a little red in there as well. But compare that to the yellow, which is an R value of 237, a green value of 198, and a blue value of 67. And these colors add together in different ways. A lot of red and a lot of green, and you'll get yellow. A lot of blue and a lot of red, and you'll get magenta. A lot of green and a lot of blue, you'll get cyan. All three of them, and you get white. None of them, and you get black. Or low values for all of them, and you get black. So this is kind of tricky to use in FLL because you have different lighting conditions on every board. You can't really calibrate these values per se, but you could have like tolerances, like under operators. You could have an if a raw red is less than something. Oh wait, just more sensors, my bad. It's like if it's less than 90 or greater than 80 with such a value, that's like a tolerance of 10, do whatever. So you can find uses for it. I just think it's crazy that you can read 16 million colors with this rather than, 8, if you count white and black as colors. Yeah, let's just say that this is incredibly overpowered. Well, not overpowered per se, but it's insane that you can do it. Next, we have one that I really do not know why it's not in the main section, and that's acceleration on different axes. And actually, let me check something quick. Yeah, so how this works is if your robot is driving straight at a consistent speed, your acceleration will be 0. But if you use, say, my acceleration program, please check out the video. This totally isn't an ad, actually, it might be. If you're accelerating, it'll give you a higher value. The faster you're accelerating, the higher the value is. And we've got the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. So y is up and down, x is forward and backwards, z is left and right. Pretty simple. Really, it should be in here. It should be in the More Sensors block, or not More Sensors, the Normal Sensors tab, because that's kind of where it was for EV3, and it was useful. I don't think I personally ever used it, but I can totally see where you would use it. Next, we have one that I was very confused by, and I have no idea what it means. So, I went to help, and I'm doing this for the last video, just because I didn't want to do this in like the second one, and then everyone skips the other ones. Angular velocity returns the hub's angular velocity. Really not very useful. I'm pretty sure I did some Googling, and what it does is it's essentially acceleration, but instead of for lateral movement, it's for rotation. So it's how fast your robot is rotating. I can see why this is in More Sensors, because acceleration, I can see where that's useful, Angular velocity, I really don't see too many uses for it, because either you want to read the angle the robot is at right now, but you really don't ever want to read the speed it's at, if you know what I mean. It exists, more sensors, I'm fine with that, but it really doesn't belong in the normal sensors tab. Next, we have orientation, and this literally just outputs how the hub is oriented. And just for reference, these are the orientations. It's kind of weird, but hey, it works. I don't really know where you'd have a use for this. Gesture, this, one second. Gesture, it's literally just outputting whether the hub is shaken, tapped, falling, or nothing. Not too terribly useful, but it exists, sure. And then we've got one that I think is actually crazy useful and a lot of FLL teams should use. It lets you set the yaw axis to different things. And I love this because if you want to see my video about the robots my FLL teams had, click the link. The third one in that video had a EV3 that was on sideways. And if we were using a Spike Prime, using the gyro would be incredibly difficult because you can only reset the yaw angle, which is why I'm so glad this exists, because it lets you set the yaw axis to different axes. It's fantastic. So, that's about all for today, because more motors, more movement, and more sensors are about all the useful ones in here. If it's green, you're never going to need to use it. So, check these out, see if you can find a use for them. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.